Before leaving for an enterprise to explore the ocean, every Viking on board would keep gold coins on them, not to trade, but a payment for the goddess they hoped to never meet. If you drowned, you were going to her hall, and you better not show up empty-handed. The goddess Ran keeps everything she catches, including drowned men. Ran is the Norse goddess of the sea and the drowned. Her name in Old Norse, Ran, means to plunder. She is the appetite of the sea, a dark and indifferent hunger. She does not welcome the drowned, she claims them, pulling sailors into her underwater hole with the net she casts across the surface of the waves. Ran is married to Aegir, a Jotun, the giant that personifies the ocean itself. They are two sides of the same power. Aegir is often described as hospitable. He hosts grand feasts for the gods. His mead and ale was said to be unmatched. Ran, in contrast, is mysterious, silent, and dark. She rarely appears in the midst, yet her shadow is always present on open water. Together, they have 9 daughters, the Wave Maidens, each named for a different aspect of the sea's movement. The net is Ran's main symbol, and in Norse poetry, skulls, she's synonymous with the sea itself. Skulls used her and her net as a poetic metaphor for the inevitability of fate. Ran's home, Ran's hall, Ran's arms, the coal hole of Ran. She seeks to catch and drown men in her net. To give someone to the sea goddess is to drown them. The sea doesn't merely receive the drowned. Ran was thought to have actively hunted them. For the Vikings, the ocean had an appetite and a net. Even Loki, the great shapeshifter and trickster, borrowed Ran's net on one occasion when he needed to catch the dwarf Andvari, who had transformed himself into a pike to hide in a waterfall. Of all the tools available to him, Loki sought out Ran's net specifically because it was understood as a device of absolute capture, something from which escape was impossible. For the Norse, death at sea was not the same as death in battle. Those who died in combat go to Valhalla, Odin's great hall, the warrior's afterlife. But those taken by Ran went somewhere else entirely, to her hall at the bottom of the sea. It is described as luminous, lit by gold that gleams in the deep water, a place where the drowned could continue to exist, feasting, drinking in the cold deep. This is why the Norse carried gold for sea voyages. It was not just a superstitious habit. Arriving at Ran's hall without gold meant the dishonor of arriving empty-handed at a divine feast, an insult to a host who had not invited you but taken you nonetheless. Gold was an essential for a meeting you hoped would never happen, but prepared for just in case. While Aegir personifies the sea as a friendly power, Ran embodies the sinister side of the sea. Ran is attested across many sources of Norse mythology: the Poetic Edda, the Prose Edda, the sagas, and the poetry of the skulls. In the 10th century poem Sanatrek, the Icelandic writer lost his son Uthvar to the sea during a storm. His grief is raw and directed to one source. He rails against Ran personally, accusing her of theft, demanding to understand what she intended by taking his son. The poem addresses Ran not in abstract, but literally. It is the grief of a father speaking directly to the deity he holds responsible. In another saga, the hero, Frithofs, finds himself in a violent storm and mourns that he will soon rest in Ran's bed. Knowing he is likely to drown, he divides gold among his men, specifically so they will arrive in her hall with something to offer. In saga literature, to be in Ran's hands became a metaphor for drowning. The language of maritime fate in Old Norse runs through her name. What makes Ran one of the most feared figures in Norse mythology is that she offers no comfort. She does not punish wrongdoing or reward virtue. She does not discriminate between the worthy and the unworthy, the brave and the frightened. She simply takes. The net falls where it falls. This deity is the understanding, deeply held by a seafaring culture, that the sea is not neutral. It is not simply a space through which you travel or fish. It is an entity with will. Ran is one of the few Norse figures whose primary association is neither with battle glory nor cosmic order. She's the rationale for the terrible possibility of drowning. In a culture whose men sailed vast distances, Ran was the presence that waited beneath every voyage. There is a detail in the sources worth dwelling on. Ran's hall at the bottom of the sea is described as beautiful, luminous, lit by gold. The drowned who arrive there are said to feast and drink, continuing an existence that mirrors the life above in certain ways. Some accounts carry a tone of unexpected dignity. That being received by Ran was not simply oblivion, but a form of afterlife with his own character and its own beauty. The Norse did not soften the reality of drowning. They did not pretend it was welcome or easy, but they also imagined what lay beneath the water, not as a void, but as a hall, a place with a host, as somewhere the drowned had arrived, rather than simply disappeared. Ran is not the only force that takes. She's also the keeper. Her hall glitters with gold. The drowned find themselves there, guests of a goddess who claimed them against their will, a place to arrive at, rather than simply disappear. That is an unsettling kind of comfort, but a comfort nonetheless. Ran does not offer answers. She does not offer resolution nor justice. She keeps what her net catches. The Norse understood, with a clarity that still holds. The ocean is unstoppable. Our next folk character is known as the Father of the Forest. Follow for more gods, spirits, and legends from every corner of the world.